Hey guys, welcome back. In today's episode, we will talk about the idea started in 2017, gained popularity with CryptoPunks and CryptoKitties. Yes, you guessed it right. NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, is our topic for today's video. NFT has become major industry now. NFT sales on Ethereum has surpassed 9 billion in 2021. So far, 2,500 time increase from 2020. With all the hype in 2021, it is clear now that the NFTs are not only here to stay, but they will radically transform the creative and content industries along with every other sector, including marketing. So this video is your first and starting point for your journey to NFTs. So let's get started. So NFT, the non-fungible tokens, they represent the ownership of an item which is backed by the blockchain, and they are pretty much just like a digital deed where the transaction record is stored on the blockchain showing the transfer of an asset from one owner to the other. So it's being considered as a certified copy of the transaction which is stored on the blockchain, and it is stored in a cryptographic token which we call it NFT. So the NFT, which represents an asset, does not actually contain the asset. So this is very important as we discuss and explore as we go further in the video. But for now, the NFT is not actually the asset. It is just a pointer to an asset where the asset is located and stored somewhere else. So it is just like a digital copy of the pointer, which is certified by the blockchain. Yes, this entry exists and is verified by the whole network. It is possible to prove who owns a given asset or NFT at any moment in time, and also to trace its history and of the prior ownership, and also it's easy to transfer NFT from one person to the other. So non-fungible token, as you can see, there are a lot of terms here: the non-fungible token NFT, the blockchain, and also the cryptographic hash, a token. So let's discuss these terms before we jump into our actual discussion of how NFT works. So let's take a look at those terms first. So let's start with the term token first. The token in an NFT, the token part in NFT, like a non-fungible token, the word token is actually derived from blockchain and especially from the cryptocurrency. So a cryptocurrency is a virtual currency which exists on the internet, and the majority of the currency, the cryptocurrency, when we say, it's actually coins, such like a Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, or Ethereum. So all of these cryptocurrencies, they have their own native blockchain. So they run on their own blockchain. So Bitcoin has its own blockchain, Ethereum has its own blockchain, Litecoin has its own blockchain, and similarly the Dogecoin has its own blockchain. So all of these coins, they have their own blockchain. Whereas the token, on the other hand, they do not have their own blockchain. For example, the BAT token or Shiba Inu or any other token which exists on the Ethereum network. So they're actually utilizing the Ethereum blockchain. So they do not have their own blockchain. So that's the major difference between the coins and the tokens. So coins, they have their own blockchain, whereas token, they're utilizing some other blockchain. So cryptocurrency tokens, which actually majority of them exist on the Ethereum blockchain, and especially most of the tokens which I have listed here, they are all follow the standard which we call ERC20. So ERC20 is a standard, or we call it template. So we will have a separate video on these different token standards, but for now the ERC20 is the standard for the fungible token. So one of the standard which has been defined in addition to ERC20 is called the ERC721, and this is what define the non-fungible token which we call it NFT. Okay, so we got the token part down. So now let's talk about the fungible versus non-fungible. So dollars are fungible. What I mean is, if I give you $5 bill and you gave me back 5 $1 bills, the exchange value is equal. It doesn't matter which dollar bills you gave me back. Similarly, the cryptocurrencies are fungible. Whether it's a token or coins, if I send anybody a Bitcoin, they don't care like which wallet it came from. A Bitcoin is a Bitcoin. I can exchange one Bitcoin for the other because it has an equal value and it can be replaceable. Similarly, some goods and the commodities are also fungible, means you can exchange for the one for the others, like gold is one of them. On the other hand, the diamonds are non-fungible items. What I mean by non-fungible means is each diamond is unique in its color, in its size, clarity, and cut. So if you bought a particular diamond, it would not be easily interchangeable with any other diamond. So if you understand this concept, so congratulations, you got the idea of what is non-fungible means. The other example is the house you live in is unique and cannot be replaced with any other house. Likewise, the NFTs are non-fungible items. Each NFT is unique. Similarly, if you have an original painting, that original painting is not equal to different printed copies of the same painting. So this means one piece of art is totally unique and it cannot be replaced with the other piece of the art. But what makes each NFT unique? Let's say if you have an NFT of an image, anyone can go and download, copy, and share image from the internet. Then what's the point of the NFT? Well, that's exactly what the NFT is. It makes one copy which you have totally unique out of those 100 copies, different copies exist on the internet, by having your copy register with a cryptographic hash on the blockchain, which nobody can change. And here you go. If you understand this concept, this is what makes the NFT unique. Registering your image with the cryptographic hash in the form of the token onto the blockchain, which anybody can go and verify. This is what makes the NFT unique. So let's talk about blockchain and how it's being used for storing the NFT. So blockchain is just like a spreadsheet. You can think of a spreadsheet same like you have on your machine. So it's just like a spreadsheet, but if you distribute that spreadsheet across different network, means different nodes, it not only exists on your machine, it exists on 100 different machines across the world. And you're storing whenever you make entry or changes into the spreadsheet, that's been reflected and updated to every single spreadsheet in the world. This is exactly the same way the blockchain works. So instead of having an entry into the spreadsheet where you have a row and column, in the blockchain world, we call it a transaction. And we store that information in the form of the transaction. And that transaction is being stored on the different nodes in the network. And the good feature of the blockchain is it's transparent. Once the transaction is submitted and is verified and then is stored, then anybody can go and verify that the content of the transaction. The other thing about the important feature of the blockchain is you cannot make any changes to it. Once it's there, it's there. It's there forever. So you cannot go and change any information in there. Yes, you can add information on top of this. You can make a transaction. You can submit a different transaction. Let's say if I have an NFT and it's being registered for me. Let's say I have this token ID and this token ID is assigned to this owner. And this is the owner of the token ID now. But later on, if this owner has a right to transfer this ownership of the asset to somebody else, so that same owner can submit a transaction to the network and digitally sign it and say, okay, I want to transfer my asset to owner at a different address, right? And once that transaction goes to the blockchain, it will be stored in there and you can verify that information once the transfer is happened. So think of a blockchain as just like, as I said, a spreadsheet where you have rows and columns. In the spreadsheet where you store the information. Similarly, I have this token ID here. I have who's the current owner. In the blockchain, instead of having rows and columns, we have the information in the form of the transaction. And that's how the information is being stored. And this information is stored across the different nodes. So when it comes to the type of NFTs, pretty much you can create NFT out of anything. Most popular one is in the form of the images. You can also have NFT, you can convert the videos into NFT, especially the most famous one is the NBA Top Shot, which contain highlight videos of moments in the NBA history, and it almost reached like a $500 million in sale. The other possible format of the NFT is in audio. Yes, you can make audio NFTs. Independent artists are finding audio NFTs as a great way to not only sell their latest work and music, but also to expand their fan base, right? The other format is going to be 3D modeling. You can create your 3D graphics and models, which you can sell it at the different decentralized land in the form of the virtual land 3D games. Also, you can have entry ticket or the membership as an NFT. The other cool format or item in the NFT is the domain name. Similarly, you have the domain name in our internet where you go .org and .net and .com. So these are all the web domain, and they use DNS to resolve those domain name into an IP address. Similarly, as you notice that in Ethereum or in a blockchain where there's a Bitcoin Ethereum, you as a user need an identification, and that identification is a long character string. In case of Bitcoin, is a 34 character string encoded in the base 68. In Ethereum is a 42 hexadecimal character. That's your address, which is 42 digit long. So instead of using that big number, you can buy a domain name and you can use that domain name as your identity. If anybody wants to do a transaction, whether wants to send you or you want to send somebody or you want to receive some cryptocurrency or coin, you can use that address you can use that crypto domain instead of using hexadecimal address. So these are the most famous ones, the .eth and .crypto. So these are the domain which you can convert into an NFT. So as you can see, there are a lot of options when it comes to the NFT format. You can make NFT out of anything. So now let's talk about what you get when you purchase an NFT. So let's suppose if you have an image and if you want to make an NFT out of it, first thing you need to store this image to somewhere on the web. And the easiest way, you can dump it on the Google Drive, or you can use the Pinata, which is the IPFS service. And IPFS stands for Interplanetary File System. It is a peer-to-peer protocol to share and store file, and it's used the content addressing to uniquely identify each file in the global namespace. And that's exactly what we need for the NFT, the global unique namespace. And so the easiest way to use the IPFS, there are two ways. You can download and install the IPFS on your machine, or you can use a well-known service offered by Pinata. So you go there, you just create a user and an account, and you upload your image. In return, this IPFS service will give you a URI, which we call the unique resource identifier. You take that identifier and you take your Ethereum address, and then you submit a transaction to the blockchain. The transaction goes to the blockchain, and then the entry will be created against your Ethereum address, and the blockchain will assign a token ID. So now, once it's been registered, that the token ID has been issued to this information where the Ethereum address and the metadata are where the image is located. So now this information is in the database. So when it's in database, anybody can go and see what's the token ID and who is the owner of that token. So when this entry is created, this is exactly what we call is minting an NFT. So now the NFT has been created. So NFT is nothing but an entry into a database where you have a token ID assigned to a resource which is located somewhere on the internet and is bind to an Ethereum address to the owner. So now this owner has this token ID which refer back to the image which is located here. So when you buy an NFT or when you create an NFT, this is what you got on the blockchain. So by having this information, so now you as an owner, so you have the privilege, or only you in the world has a digitally right to that information. No one else can make these changes in here. It's only you who can transfer this asset to anybody else in the future. And so when the NFT is created, so you are the digital owner of this entry. So any changes required on this entry belongs to you. So it's not going to happen until you sign the transaction. If this token needs to be transferred to somebody else, so it needs to be transferred by you, and no one else can make that changes. So when you buy an NFT, you're actually buying that right to make any changes to this entry. So this is exactly what the NFT is. It's nothing but a token ID assigned against a resource located somewhere in the network or the internet, and is being bind to an Ethereum address who is the owner of that token. So that's all. That's all from the NFT perspective. So I hope you understand the basic concept of the NFT. In future videos, we will talk more about the different functionalities and how NFT comes to life, and we'll take a deeper look into the NFT infrastructure and ecosystem. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.